Once upon a time, long ago, a man named Abram lived in a place called Ur. This city was one of the most important and bustling centers of ancient Mesopotamia, known for its grand ziggurats and vibrant culture. Ur was a bustling city in Mesopotamia, a land far, far away. The streets were always filled with merchants trading goods, artisans crafting beautiful items, and people from all walks of life going about their daily routines. Abram lived with his father, Terah, who made idols for a living. Their home was filled with the sounds of chisels and hammers, as Terah crafted intricate statues of various gods worshipped by the people of Ur. Life in Ur was good, but Abram felt a stirring in his heart, a longing for something more. He often found himself gazing at the horizon, wondering if there was a greater purpose for him beyond the city walls. One day Abram heard a voice calling his name. It was a voice unlike any he had ever heard before, powerful yet gentle, filling him with a sense of awe and wonder. It was God speaking to him. The voice told Abram that he had been chosen for a special mission, a divine purpose that would change the course of his life forever. God told Abram to leave his home, his family, and everything he knew. This was no small request, as it meant abandoning the life he had always known and stepping into the unknown. He was to journey to a new land, a land that God would show him. This land was promised to be a place where Abram's descendants would flourish and become a great nation. This was a difficult command, but Abram trusted God. He believed in the promise and felt a deep conviction that this was his true calling. He knew in his heart that he must obey. The decision weighed heavily on him, but his faith gave him the strength to move forward. So Abram packed his belongings, gathered his wife Sarah and his nephew Lot, and prepared for the journey. They collected all they could carry, knowing that they might never return to Ur. Together, they set out on a journey into the unknown. With each step, Abram felt a mix of fear and excitement, but his faith in God's promise kept him moving forward towards a future that was yet to be revealed. Imagine the fear and excitement Abram must have felt as he left the familiar streets of Ur behind. He was leaving everything he knew for a promise, a whisper of something greater. God had promised Abram that he would become a great nation, his name would be great, and he would be a blessing to all the families of the earth. This promise gave Abram the strength to keep going, even when the journey was long and difficult. He held on to God's words like a beacon in the darkness, guiding him towards a future he could only imagine. The journey was not easy. Abram and his family faced scorching deserts, treacherous mountains, and the constant threat of bandits. But through it all, Abram's faith never wavered. He knew that God was with him, leading him towards the promised land. God led Abram to a land called Canaan, a land flowing with milk and honey. It was here that God made a covenant, a sacred agreement with Abram. God promised Abram that this land would belong to his descendants, a land where they would thrive and prosper for generations to come. But God asked something of Abram in return. He asked Abram to walk before him and be blameless. God asked him to trust in him completely and to live a life of righteousness and justice. This covenant was sealed with a special ritual, a sign of the unbreakable bond between God and Abram. From that day forward, Abram was no longer Abram, but Abraham, the father of many nations. Abraham settled in Canaan, a land of rolling hills, fertile valleys, and sparkling streams. He built altars to God, offering sacrifices and giving thanks for all that he had been given. Abraham's heart overflowed with gratitude and awe at the wonders of God's creation. But life in Canaan was not without its challenges. There were times of famine and drought when food and water were scarce. There were conflicts with neighboring tribes who looked upon Abraham and his people with suspicion and jealousy. Yet through it all, Abraham remained faithful. He held on to God's promises, trusting that he would provide for his needs and protect him from all harm. Section 5. A vast family. Years turned into decades, and Abraham and Sarah grew old. Yet they still had no children, and Sarah despaired of ever becoming a mother. But God had not forgotten his promise. He appeared to Abraham once more, reaffirming his covenant and promising that Sarah would indeed bear a son. And so it came to pass that Sarah miraculously gave birth to a son whom they named Isaac. Isaac's birth was a cause for great rejoicing, a sign that God's promises were true and that his covenant with Abraham would be fulfilled. Isaac grew up to be a righteous man, a worthy heir to Abraham's legacy. He married Rebekah, and together they had twin sons, Esau and Jacob. Jacob, later renamed Israel, had 12 sons who became the ancestors of the 12 tribes of Israel. Section 6. Judaism, the chosen people. Abraham's story is central to the Jewish faith. He is revered not only as a historical figure, but also as a spiritual guide whose life and actions have shaped the beliefs and practices of Judaism for millennia. He is considered the father of the Jewish people, the first patriarch, and the one with whom God made his covenant. This covenant was a profound agreement, a sacred bond that promised Abraham descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. This covenant, passed down through Isaac and Jacob, forms the basis of the Jewish faith and its understanding of God's relationship with his chosen people. It signifies a perpetual promise, a divine commitment that has been a cornerstone of Jewish identity. The promise of the land of Canaan, a land flowing with milk and honey, became a central theme in Jewish history and identity. This land was not just a physical territory, but a symbol of hope, prosperity, and divine favor. The Jews believed that God chose them to be his special people, set apart for a unique purpose in the world. This belief has been a source of strength and resilience, guiding them through centuries of trials and tribulations. Abraham's faith and obedience serve as a model for Jews throughout the ages. His unwavering trust in God, even in the face of immense challenges, is a testament to the power of faith and devotion. He's remembered as a man of great faith who was willing to sacrifice everything for God. This ultimate act of devotion is commemorated in Jewish tradition and serves as a powerful example of selflessness and piety. His story teaches the importance of trusting in God's promises even when they seem impossible. It reminds the Jewish people of their enduring covenant with God and the everlasting hope that comes with it. Section 7. Christianity, the father of faith. Christians also revere Abraham as a pivotal figure in their faith. He is seen as a forerunner of Jesus Christ, a model of faith and obedience to God's will. The New Testament speaks of Abraham's faith as an example for all Christians to follow. The Apostle Paul, in his letter to the Romans, emphasizes that Abraham's faith was credited to him as righteousness, even before the law was given. This concept of justification by faith, central to Christian theology, finds its roots in Abraham's story. Furthermore, Christians see Jesus as the ultimate fulfillment of God's promise to Abraham. Just as Abraham's descendants inherited the promised land, so too do all who believe in Jesus inherit the promise of eternal life. Section 9. Abraham's enduring legacy. Abraham's story, though thousands of years old, continues to resonate with people of different faiths and cultures. He is a universal symbol of faith, obedience, and the enduring power of God's promises. His journey reminds us that even in the face of uncertainty and adversity, we can find hope and strength in our relationship with the divine. Abraham's legacy is a testament to the power of one man's faith to change the world. His story has inspired countless individuals throughout history and continues to shape the beliefs and values of billions of people today. Abraham's journey reminds us that we are all part of something larger than ourselves, connected by a common thread of faith and the enduring promise of God's love.